Welcome to another episode of Educating Homebuyers, the podcast. I'm your host, Brady Hay, and my mortgage team has over 9 years of mortgage experience here in Des Moines, Iowa. Whether you're buying your first home, upgrading, investing, or simply just curious about the market, this show is all about helping you and future homebuyers feel informed, educated, and comfortable as you take your next step. Each week, I sit down with real estate professionals, past clients, and local experts to unpack real stories, real advice, and what you actually need to know when buying a home today. Without further ado, let's get into today's episode. Today's guest is a real estate veteran of 12 years in the Des Moines market who has truly made Des Moines her sweet spot. From clipping homes as a kid to frankly creating a powerhouse real estate brand, she's turned a lifelong passion into a career centered on connecting and trusting and guiding people through some of the life's biggest moves they'll ever face. Whether it's a first-time buyer finding their place, to families building new construction, to investors looking for the right opportunity, she brings an approachable, authentic energy to every relationship. Mariah Klemp, welcome to Educating Homebuyers.
Thank you for having me, Brady.
Absolutely. Are you excited?
I'm so excited. I think we have a lot of fun stuff to talk about today.
Yeah.
And it's so cool that you provide this podcast for people. We all need this as new home buyers are looking to buy a home. There's so much to learn from it. And I think that's the coolest part about you and I is we really focus on educating our clients because that is like the cornerstone to making a successful real estate
Without
sale, the education piece.
Yep, got to dive into that. And it's been cool to have this, to obviously build connections with the people I already know, but get to know new people. And one of the coolest things I've realized with this is as much as, yes, it's a platform to give you guys a chance to talk about things that benefit clients, I'm actually finding it's helping educate other real estate agents as well and other business professionals that work in this industry. So it's just been a win to be a valuable resource, and I'm thankful to have the platform and for Amplified for giving me the opportunity, and excited to have you share your story. So we'll start off with that. Kind of give everybody a background. How'd you get into real estate? What did that look like for you? You know, I read on your bio you started clipping little magazine posts at 8 years old, right? Was that what it said? So give everybody an inside look into your intro into real estate.
Yes. So my real estate career literally started when I was 8, and we started off by when I went to Fairway with my mom and dad. We would be waiting in line in the checkout, and they would always have those home plan magazines. And I always said, "Mom, Dad, can we go build a new house?" And they're like, "Sure." And then would go like buy these magazines for me, and then I'd start looking through all these magazines, and I really loved them. Yeah. Then the Waterloo Cedar Falls Courier had a home plan of the week every single Sunday. Okay. So as a little girl, I clipped them all out, and every single week that was my thing. We'd look at them. I'd talk with mom and dad about these homes, and then that was right when House Hunters also kind of started up. We had Dish Network. That was so cool, and I think that's really where my passion started. I was just really, really into homes, and a few years ago I was back at my parents' farm, and I found my old journal when I was a little girl, and I actually have it clipped out and framed in my office. Something that I wrote when I was, I was 9 years old, and it said, "When I grow up, I want to be a successful real estate agent."
Oh, that's
and
so
I misspelled
cool.
Successful, so you know it's legit.
There's a lot of double letters. It's easy to mess that one up.
2 C's, 2 S. Yeah, anyways.
A lot of double letters. That's funny.
So then in college, I wanted to be a lawyer for a hot minute. Okay. And then I was like, no, this isn't for me. So I went to career counseling at Iowa State, and I said, "What do I do?" Yeah. They're like, "Do what you love." And immediately kind of went back to real estate. Yeah. So as soon as I graduated college, I moved up to Minneapolis, and I started my real estate career. Okay. Jumped right into it when I was 21. And I still remember some very cringe moments. I didn't know how real estate worked. And I was, wearing my college clothes, trying to sell fancy houses up in Minneapolis. Sure. But man, did I learn a lot. Yeah. And so Minneapolis was great, but all my friends, family, my connections were down in Des Moines. So I moved down in Des Moines end of 2014. Okay. And I have been a realtor here ever since.
Love it.
And the amount of experience that I've had, I can say at 34 that I've got 12 years of experience, 12, 13 years. That's pretty great.
Yeah.
So, I've been around Des Moines so much. I've been in hundreds of homes, been a part of hundreds of sales. And so there's really not too much that I haven't seen. Yep. Every once in a while, you have your moments.
Something new, right? right?
But so I think that's where, my passion for real estate started at that young age.
Yeah.
And
I'd love to have you dive into, you highlighted the word successful. And I think that word is different for everybody's perspective, right? Some agents have this desire or passion to be a top producer and a 1% agent or whatever you want to call it, right? Other people, a successful realtor is just being a incredible value add for the people they work with. And it doesn't mean that success is derived or dictated by the amount of closings you have, transactions. Would love to have you touch on, like, what in your mind, after the 12 years you've had, what would make you, or can you look back and tell your 9-year-old self, when you wrote that in your journal, do you still consider yourself a successful agent, and what would that look like moving forward?
That's a good question. And my definition of success pretty much for the first 10 years was be the best.
Yeah.
Sell the most homes, do the best, be number one, all of that. Recently with some health issues that I've had, I have completely transformed my definition of success.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about that a little bit later, but I think really is having like a balanced life and having the time to like really sit down with your clients and not feel rushed, having conversations where you're really getting to know them instead of being like, okay, got to go to the next appointment.
Yep.
That doesn't make people feel seen or heard.
Yeah.
And there's only 24 hours in a day. There's only so much you can do.
Right.
And so I think I've been a lot more intentional with my clients and my time and getting to know people, taking people out for dinner, and then just having the time freedom to do what I want to do.
Yeah.
And then also building a really cool real estate brand, keeping it going, and just providing really valuable
kind of a happy
experience.
balance there, right? Like you obviously want to help as many people as you can while giving yourself grace, giving yourself time to give those clients what they deserve, right? And not rush, but also on the flip side, respecting your personal life, respecting your health, everything that you've battled, making sure that you respect yourself too. I think that's a great lesson for everybody, is like, it doesn't mean that you have to be that top of the list agent to be a very successful person in your mind. So that's kind of what I was hoping you would say. I just wanted to see. You
can still do really, really well in real estate and also set boundaries. Yeah. And I think that was the biggest thing for me. I was like missing out on birthdays, and my mom's birthday, she came to visit me in town and I went and showed houses for 4 hours. What? You can't be doing that.
Which, not that you're not willing to do that for your clients, right?
100%. 100%.
Time
That's
is one of those.
Agent I was.
Time is one of those unique things in our career where like we have to be willing to sacrifice a little bit. Because the reality of just buying homes and getting mortgages and everything that you and I do, a lot of the time that happens when we, in those odd hours, right? When people aren't working is when they have time to look at houses. And so there is a little bit of sacrifice involved there, but I've also learned, and I'm on a similar timeline to you. I'm just under 10 years. I think you're 11 or 12, right? If my math is right. So, I've been doing it about the same time frame as what you have. And I think that there's one thing that I've learned is people understand and want to work with a human being, right? And they know that like if I'm at my niece's dance recital or my nephew's birthday or whatever you said, that's totally okay. Like, and they give you grace on that. As long as we plan ahead of time, we can kind of coordinate to still help them achieve their dreams, right? And I think a lot of that, frankly, for me anyways, has come back to the beginning expectations. So from day one, when you first connect with somebody about a potential opportunity to work with them, it's like, hey, this is my process. This is how it works. I've identified this process. I've built it to lead to client satisfaction, and just want you to know that we want to get a lot of this hard work done up front. Whereas I would say in my early career, I'd be curious to have your thoughts on this, but like it seemed like it was, all right, I got this lead. I need to hurry up and get them pre-approved so that they can go look at a house tonight and write an offer, and like kind of rush it a little bit. And like the more precedent you set up front, the smoother the experience anyways.
Yep. I do a client intake form with all of my people up front, and I'm asking them all the questions. I have a very detailed, buyer presentation. And so they know up front. I mean, it's all streamlined. It's so cool to see how I started and like what I do now, because the process is 180 degrees different. And I think it puts people at ease. Like I have a listing appointment later today that I've already sent him a whole form on, tell me everything about your house, from the updates that you've done to the garage code and all that kind of stuff. The more you get up front, the easier it is on everybody.
Well, it allows you to be a better professional for them, right? right? Like the more information you can gather before you go and meet with this person for the first time,
Yep.
the more streamlined that process is for you when you get there. It allows you to better serve them too. So it's
Yep.
just a win-win all around. So if there's
Yep.
any advice that I think anybody listening can take from this is like, allow us to have the time to do the prep work up front, because it'll make the process smoother for you and ultimately lead to a better experience.
Yep. And that's, again, kind of tying back to the education piece. I want to sit down with people and really set those expectations up front, talk to them about potential things that you might run into in a house. And so being in real estate for as long as I have, I've, again, had so much experience with home inspections and also just negotiating home inspections, owning a home, renovating a home, renovating rental properties, all of that stuff.
Yep.
It's provided me with so much knowledge that I can then share with my clients. And so when I'm walking through a house, you know, I'll be like, hey, remember at our beginning of our consultation, we talked about radon. You know, this is a thing that we might run into, or old windows, because you indicated that you wanted an older home. This is an example of that. And, you know, are you comfortable with that? Are you good with it? And I think it helps everybody. And then people are like, oh yeah, I remember you said that.
Right.
So
and the more hands-on experience you've had, the more valuable you have become then as a representative for your clients, right? And I think that's, you know, something, and even for new agents that are watching this too, don't get discouraged because you've never flipped a home, or you've never renovated a property, or you've never maybe walked a client through that yet. I would encourage like brand new agents listening to this to not feel like you have to jump in and do that right away to be a better agent. But if you immerse yourself hands-on, the more immersive you get, I would say, the better of a resource you can be for the people you represent.
Oh, 100%. As a newer agent, I would just chat with the more experienced agents, be like, hey, can I come with you? And can I join you? Because that's the only way that you will learn. If you don't have that personal experience, that's going to be the best way to do it. But I think just that's probably my value add as a real estate agent, is that I know so much about homes, what things cost, what are issues, what are, hey, this is cosmetic. Hey, this is a big thing that you've got to address right away.
It's so interesting. And so, I get clients that'll start to like try to ask me those questions. And as much as I want to be a resource and answer those, I always direct them back like, well, you should probably talk to your realtor, because I don't get to be in homes on a day-to-day basis, right?
Right.
Like I had a client that literally talked to me yesterday. He was toying around with the idea of selling his existing property and buying a new construction. And the new construction homes that he was considering looking at, they are in the lower price point from when you look at new construction, right? They're on the lower end of the ones that he was interested in. And he was asking my advice about certain builders and what their reputations are and how do those homes age. And I was transparent with him. I was like, buddy, like as much as I want to answer these questions, I would encourage you to call your realtor, because they're the ones that get to be hands-on in these properties. They know the reputations of these builders. They know the things to look for. They've worked, frankly, with clients that probably bought homes from those builders, and they can kind of tell you the experiences their past clients have had over the years. So there's just so much value add in working with an agent that has the experience and knows the details about those properties, because frankly, your mortgage guy is not the right person to ask those questions to.
Yeah, definitely not. And that's, again, where I can kind of share some of my, you know, like look at the budget and just say, hey, you know, based on your budget, you could afford a new construction home, and you're probably not going to have to do much upkeep to it. But long term, you know, that's going to be something where I've seen new construction homes that are thrown up so quickly. They don't age as well as some of those older homes.
And that was kind of the high level advice I gave him. I was like, hey, just like the reason why these builders are able to build a property brand new in that price point is frankly because of the finishes and the materials that they're using to build that property with, right? And also add that to the fact that a lot of them are national builders where they can, you know, just order materials on bulk. Like there's lots of reasons why they're able to get that done. But I just cautioned him in that, is like, I'm not saying that these are bad properties. I just want you to understand that you're probably going to be getting lower end finishes when you're buying a new home in that price point.
Right. And that's why, you know, everybody's goals are so different. And that's why, again, that first buyer consultation is so important. You want to learn, okay, what are they limited in the amount of money that they can put into a house?
Yep.
Well, then that's something that we're going to have to find something that is already done for them. But also within budget. It's all about that budget and what they're comfortable with. But when I meet with people who are like, hey, we love to tackle a project, I'm like, okay, let's go get you a really cheap house. And then that's where you're going to get the best bang for your buck. It's so situational based.
Right. Which all comes back to, again, those upfront conversations and just identifying that and making sure that the clients allow the agents to guide them through what they want to accomplish. That's the biggest advice I can give as a lender is like, allow your realtor to do what they're trained to do, And
I've definitely been kind of running into some of that is that, hey, I read this online. I think this is what I need to do. I'm like, hold up. That online or Chat GPT isn't showing homes actively in Des Moines. They don't have that. There's only so much. That's why, AI, the rise of AI, all of that stuff, they're talking about, they're going to take all of our jobs. No, we will still be needed because people need that guidance, and that's so important. And so, I think that's a big thing that when I'm walking through homes, I'll walk through a house and say, we're going to look at a few things here. Layout, I think, is probably one of the biggest things. Does it feel like the house has been added on to? Is there like an awkward room? Those are things that we're going to start looking at, or where the house is situated. Does it back up to a busy street, or like a school, or there's several things. You could always change a house, but you can't change that location. I think that as I have, I probably have always done this, but more so now than ever, is I talk people out of buying homes more than buying them. And it's because I want them. This is a huge investment. You're talking several $100,000. We're not just going to go buy something that you're like, yep, okay, this works. No. So I coach my clients all the time and tell them, hey, even if you're okay with this issue, when you go to sell it down the road in the future, future buyers are going to have issue with it. And so I think some other issues that I kind of see is people buying homes with that have like deferred maintenance. And they're like, oh, that's fine. Like, we'll get it fixed, or we'll take care of that. If you continue to, if you don't take care of deferred maintenance problems, they will only get worse and more expensive as you go. And so for like a first-time home buyer, that's where I usually try to redirect them and say, hey, maybe this one we go look somewhere else, because I just see dollar signs all over. That's a very, very common thing that I have that conversation with. And radon is also another really big one that I see where not everybody knows about radon, or maybe I
can tell you confidently, I didn't when I first was selling my first house. I don't think that we got a radon test done when I bought it, and when I sold it, the people that were buying it from me asked for a radon system to be had installed, right? And I'm like, first off, what even is that? And what does that cost me to install as a seller? So just lack of education, frankly, on my front. So great topic to touch on. Give everybody an inside look into that. What does that look like? What is radon? What do you look for? How do you mitigate it?
Radon is a colorless, odorless gas, and it is the second leading cause of lung cancer. And 1 out of 3 homes in Iowa has radon. And honestly, I've heard stats where it says like 7 out of 10 homes in Des Moines have it.
That's wild.
And I look at radon tests all the time. I would probably agree with that. And radon can cause not only lung cancer, but other cancers. And so it seeps through the ground. And so if you have people that are sleeping in basements or spending a lot of time in basements, and you can actually have radon, high levels of radon in a home that doesn't have a basement, which I think even some realtors don't know that. So it is so critical that you are testing your home for radon and making sure that you're safe. That's one thing that I've been really passionate about in the last year, is making sure that your home is not only a really good investment, you're taking care of it, but your home is safe, because there are a lot of issues that can crop up in a home that will make you, that can potentially harm your health. Radon being one of them. So a typical, whenever you test for a high level of radon, if you find that you have a high level, we install a radon mitigation system. They're about $1,300, $1,400. Price has gone up a little bit in the last few years. But it's a quick thing that they just drill a hole in your foundation and they suck the fan. They put a fan in. It kind of just sucks the air and it just It gets rid of it. So I was like, I need a diagram on this, but
that's funny.
Yep. So it's just kind of an easy fix, no brainer. And so for sometimes I'll have clients that be like, that's fine. I'm not in the basement. I'm not going to use it. I always encourage my clients, still ask the seller. If I'm representing the buyer, please ask the seller to pay for that system, because if it doesn't bother you when you go to sell it in 5 years, it's going to come up again and the buyer is going to want you to pay for it.
What percentage of homes would you say that you see already have a mitigation system in them versus still need one?
I'm seeing more and more. It was kind of a new hot button issue when I first started in real estate 2013. Okay. And so not a lot of people knew about it. So really no one had it. I'm seeing more and more now, but I would still say well over half of the homes that were without them. Yep. Wow. So in new construction, they've been building homes like this for years. They install passive systems, which is like they've got all of the materials kind of ready to go. You just have to install a fan. Okay. So it's slightly cheaper to install a radon mitigation system in a home. Sure. That's in new construction. They just have to add a fan. But it's not standard
for one to be put in with a new construction.
Not an active system. Got it. Passive systems, yes. Active, no. Okay. So that's something that, we have to be cautious about. Yeah. And then another big thing I've been seeing is roof issues. Okay. With the amount of derechos that we've had and all sorts of natural disasters, we're like one of the most expensive home insurance states in the country. You probably see that in mortgage as well.
Without a doubt.
And you've probably noticed too that insurance carriers are looking for any way to not cover or just really expect a lot of money for that premium. Yep. And roofs have been some of the biggest issues. If your roof is over 15 years old, insurance carriers, some of them just won't even cover you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so you will have a home inspection. And this is kind of, again, probably in the last year, I've seen this happen 3 different times. And it's like something that we all need to know about. Your home inspector might say, hey, your roof it's older, but it's fine. It's in good shape. Well, that's fine and dandy, but your homeowner's insurance might not cover it. And so we need to be a little bit more proactive, I think, in that end by, making sure that your roof is going to pass not only the inspection, but the insurance as well.
Which is another thing, like, obviously you guys are getting the inspection done. You're having your inspectors getting up there, most likely anyways. I don't want to speak on behalf of your inspector, but they're looking at those things. But I'm a big advocate for having insurance agents in your back corner, in your back pocket too, that know what carriers are going to look for, right? So I feel like on my side, and I probably deal with this maybe more than you do just because of the finances, but I feel like so often I have clients that just call the insurance company online and just say, hey, I want to get a quote. But I think there's a super big value in working with a local agent that understands the Iowa market, knows what sort of weather we're dealing with, knows the type of properties that you're going to be looking at, so that they can kind of help custom fit your insurance policy to meet the home you're going to buy, rather than just working with somebody out of a call center. So
Right. Yep. And I think when they actually get on the roof and look at it, I feel a lot better. So that's one of the first things that I've been doing, which I never used to do. I think some loan officers do that as well. Like, hey, by the way, we close next week. You got to get your homeowner's insurance. We don't want to push that off anymore. You want to do that right away. And our new purchase agreements actually have that in place as well. Yeah. So they have like a time limit of how soon that you can back out of the contract for insurance purposes. Yep. Because I think it's more of an issue now.
It is, for sure.
And so,
and I have, so on my mobile application, for anybody that's listening and wants to apply for a pre-approval with me, once you fill out your application, there's a list of tasks that are given for the client. And this can teach you too, but the way it works is usually we get the basic documents to qualify somebody, right? Your W-2s, your pay stubs, your bank statements. Well, within the last year or so, I've added another boilerplate task that automatically populates that says proof of homeowner's insurance. Because we want to get ahead of that. We want to make sure that you understand and have your conversation with your agent to know. And obviously, if you don't have a property picked out yet, we can't finalize the policy yet because it has to be property specific, but it's good to have those conversations to get a realistic expectation into costs and what insurance looks like. And also the biggest thing I can't stress, and I talked about this a few episodes with Rich, but you have to make sure that not only are you looking at just the premium when you're setting up that insurance quote, right? You want to make sure that you're covered appropriately. So if something does happen to the roof, and maybe the roof checks out when you buy it, but then a storm comes through or a derecho like you talked about, you want to make sure that you're covered to the point where you're not coming out an arm and a leg out of pocket to replace that. Like there's a fine line between shopping insurance on premiums and coverages too. So I think that's a good point to touch on.
Yep. And the premium is huge because everybody just like wants the cheapest rate, but the cheapest rate isn't good when you have a leak in your basement and you have to pay $8,000 out of pocket. And it's not covered by insurance because they forgot a $25 rider. Yep. Ask me how I know how.
Hey, Mariah, how do you know how? I love it.
So, that's the importance of aligning yourself with quality people who will hold your hand and walk you through it. One of my favorite things you do is those videos, walking them through documents. Yep. Because I hate it when you get a whole bunch of documents and you're like, what am I looking at? No, and you don't know, right. and there's so much value in that. If I had my insurance agent walk me through all those documents, I wouldn't have had to spend $8,000 out of pocket because we missed a $25 rider. Yep. So those are little lessons that, thankfully you and I have had experience on, learned through, and then we can educate our clients. Hey, this is what we need to do. This is the people you need to talk to. Yep. It's just so important to align yourselves with like quality professionals more than ever. Yep.
Yeah, I think those inspection items are something that most people just kind of frankly overlook and don't understand. Like it's very, very hard. And frankly, even a new construction property that's brand new and fresh off the market, you're still going to find flaws, right? There's always going to be things that can come up, and having an agent that knows how to identify the right things to look for, has experience with past clients and your own personal experiences with things that can go wrong in a property. Like you want to have that in mind and think about future resale. It's not just looking at a property that has a bunch of sunshine and rainbows pointed at it because, it's exciting and fresh and new and everything's good there. You want to make sure that you're thinking about, like you said, your health and your future resale values. So an incredible point to drive home there. And that's something that frankly, we haven't talked about yet. So love that you touched on that. So
kind of some other things that I look for that I hear about some buyers, or if for example, I meet somebody who's already bought a home and then I go to list their home 5 years later because I've met them, been referred to them. I'll hear people say, oh yeah, we never had a sewer scope. What? Yeah. And to think that people are buying homes without a sewer scope, that is one of your main home inspections. Yeah. And I've heard that people will say, oh, you only need to do a sewer scope on an older home. Absolutely not true. You know how much construction debris can be found in new construction homes in a sewer line? Or if the home was built 5 years ago, ground settles a lot after that home settled, all the ground and all that. I've seen many lines that have gone kind of belly or cracked or whatnot because of the ground settled so much. So every single home must have a sewer scope. That is so critical. And I would say, especially in my older homes, over half of them, we find something that needs addressed. And not necessarily that it's a $6,000 repair, but like, hey, it's full of tree roots. Yep. The tree roots can be unclogged with anywhere between depending on what kind of treatment you do for it, like $100 to about $600, $700 to clear your line out. That's great. Easy thing to do. You would rather do that than spend thousands of dollars because your sewer backed up in your basement. Yep. And so that's just one other thing that I want to make sure to drive home to clients. Test your house for radon, get a sewer scope. Your general home inspection won't do those things.
Bare minimums.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And also another thing is kind of aligning yourself with a quality home inspector. One that's not going to make you fearful to buy the house. But again, going back to that education piece, like my home inspector that I use all the time, he's so great because he's like, hey guys, this is a maintenance issue. You definitely need to address it, but you don't need to address it now. Put it on your list and, print out your sheet, and every few months, like crack away at some of these items. But then there's also certain things that cannot be found in a home inspection as well. And I think, again, working with someone who knows what you're looking for is so critical, because if I would have known what I was looking for, I could have saved myself a lot of headaches.
Sure.
Literally
headaches.
So, yeah.
I love it. And that's such a valuable point. So if there's any kind of recap there, it's radon inspections, sewer scopes, full home inspection. Anything else you want to add? What did we miss?
Yep. And so probably the last thing is something that I never used to do, but of course doing in every single house now, looking for water damage. And I am currently recovering from toxic mold poisoning, and I had mold in my house last year, and mold is like a silent killer. And so I got really, really sick, and everyone said, Mariah, you're a realtor. You should have known better. No, mold hides behind walls, but it also hides in plain sight. And so if you know what you're looking for, you can find the signs. So, I think when I go through a house now, since again, I've had this personal experience, some of the biggest things that you need to look out for is peeling paint, buckling in trim or walls that are cracking. I look through homes with a fine-tooth comb now. And it's part of, some of the I think maybe PTSD that I have in my own home. I had a roof leak. And when I bought my house, it appeared right after I bought the house. And I thought, gosh, what should I do about this roof leak? I didn't know about mold or the issues that could have come from it. I had 10 roofers on my house. No one could figure out where the leak was coming from. And eventually I thought it could have been a chimney issue. And so got the chimney all fixed, repaired it. It was all good to go. Never bothered me for years later. And then it resurfaced last year, same leak, same place. And I thought, gosh, I really need to get that taken care of, just a water leak. And what I didn't know is anytime you have a water leak, you need to immediately take care of that. I had somebody on the books to fix it, and they were like, hey, we're 6 weeks out. Nope. You need to get that taken care of right away. And I think one thing I want to also reiterate is that when you have a water leak, there's so many people that will say like, hey, just like scrape the texture and kind of texture over it, repaint it, you're good to go. If you have a water leak, you need to make sure that mold isn't growing behind it. And the only way to do that, you cannot get mold out of drywall or plaster or anything. You have to physically remove the water leak. And so cutting out the ceiling. There's so many things that I've learned through having such issues with mold that I think I'm sharing this now with my clients. I had a client who they had like a little water leak in their house a few weeks ago, and she texted me and she said, hey Mariah, can we just paint over this? I'm like, nope. You got to cut this out. And I think I was very, very ill for many, many months, and it affected my health so greatly, even still today. I'm having a lot of issues. It takes about 1 to 3 years to heal from mold toxicity. And so I'm very passionate about sharing my story with it because I don't want anyone else to get sick. And so I think if you're a homeowner and you have some water leak, the most foolish thing that you could do is just paint over it. You have got to take care of that issue. Even if you are one of the lucky people who doesn't really get sick from mold, the next person who might be moving into your house or your kid or your spouse might have issue with it too. So,
what a valuable piece of info.
Yep. So we're walking through house and making sure that you're taking care of any water leaks.
I love it. Well, thank you for being a value add. Thank
Yeah.
you for recovering smoothly and taking care of your house. I know that's been a journey for you the last 12 months or so, but glad to hear that you're on the up and up and excited to get you back to full strength, and just thankful for your guidance and resource and ultimately just making sure that your people are informed, educated, and comfortable, which is what we talk about all the time on these episodes. So as much as we could probably sit here and talk all day long, we are out of time, but thank you for being a resource. Excited to get this out and get it shared for your people, and looking forward to many more conversations here in the future.
Thank you, Brady. It's so awesome you do this again. And you're an incredible lender, and you have the smoothest process.
I love it.
So highly recommend you to anybody.
Thank you so much. So if you guys have any questions or want to reach out to Mariah, I'll be sure to link her information in the description below. Thanks again for tuning in to another episode, and we will see you guys next time.